Welcome back. This is John Mazzara, Remax Results. Today we have Lee Davis with US Bank, and he's going to talk to us all about some of the down payment assistance programs. He's very knowledgeable. US Bank is one of the leaders, if not the leader, in down payment assistance. And I'm just going to throw the mic right on over to Lee and let him talk to us about how down payment assistance programs work and with what type of financing and the process. Lee, take it from there.
Yeah, John, thank you for having me. Really, what I wanted to explain today is that there are tons of down payment opportunities out there. First and foremost, get with your lender to see what they offer. Whether it's U.S. Bank, whether it's your local credit union, please work with that to make sure it's capable and can coordinate with your first mortgage product. Again, the worst thing you can do is promise funds or think that you have funds all the way up to the closing table, and it's either stopped by eligibility requirements or something else. So first and foremost, just check with your lender. As far as U.S. Bank, we have over 40, about 50 down payment assistance programs that I know about. These ones get written and underwritten all the time. These come from nonprofits, city, county. But today I'm really just going to focus on a couple that we used of late, and really I'm gonna touch on one at the end to kind of keep your your information about it, because it's important to know all of them that's coming up. So first one obviously is one of the more popular ones, Minnesota Housing. We are the master servicer, meaning the first mortgage, where it is with Minnesota Housing, but it gets serviced in-house at US Bank. And so our rates are going to be pretty closely tied to it, as well as you'll know where your mortgage ends up, and be moved around. Like some people sell to other investors, other servicers around. The main highlights on that is that there's a deferred loan, and then there's a monthly payment loan. Those are income limits for that. Again, there's underwriting for this, so again, please work with your lender. Please work with your first mortgage of where you're at in the process. Right now, it's about 89,000. I do know that they are looking at that income limit, and that's for the deferred loan. And then the monthly payment loan is up to about 142,000. So just make sure that those numbers change all the time. Just make sure again that it works with the income and qualifying income of the product. The monthly defer loan goes up to 16,500. Monthly payment loan can go up to 18,000. It's called a deferred payment plus. So again, two different products. One, it does affect your monthly payment. The other is a 0% forgivable grant. Again, you'll know which one you qualify for. As for loan purposes, you would want to go for the deferred loan at first, but it has people qualify for the monthly payment loan, which has actually helped them purchase their home. So really just depends what's best for you. Again, how it's structured with the loan to make sure you qualify. And again, because it does go against your debt to income ratio on the monthly loan, to make sure you know the difference. Have any more questions with that? Again, please check with your local lender or check with me. Minnesota Housing's great, but they are going to defer to what are you eligible for your first mortgage product. The second real tier of this is kind of working with your local nonprofits and your city specific ones. A really good one is the Center of Energy and Environment, and for Minneapolis. Those break down through cities. So City of Coon Rapids, City of Brooklyn Park, or just some off the top of my head. Again, work through that loan. They have a specific loan application process. Put it in the same time as you're doing your first mortgage loan, just so they're going to ask for the similar documents as all underwriting. It's a lot easier just to put those through at the same time. Again, some of those have stricter income limits or stricter census tracts. So just double check before eligibility, before promising them to any borrower. But again, there's opportunity. And lastly, probably with local nonprofits like a PPL, there's some with NeighborWorks. And again, find out what works with your borrower. That's going to be the last thing. Any questions from you, John, or anything? I know I kind of just
Yeah,
spewed
I
a
know
bunch
there's
from me.
a yeah, I know there's a new one that is not quite ready yet, but that's coming out, and it's for folks that their parents haven't owned a home or been foreclosed on, and there's some different things on that. Can you touch on that new program to the extent that you can talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So this one is set to come out in April. It's being administered by the Homeownership Center as well as Minnesota Housing. So that's actually two separate programs. It's for first generation down payment assistance. So some can go up to 3% of the sales price. I think one up to 32,000, one up to 35,000. Um, and then, yeah, the most important part is that you or the parent cannot have owned a home, your parents lost a home due to foreclosure during that process, and you will qualify for the first generation down payment assistance. Um, Again, probably hear more middle of March, as it's going to be distributed in April, because they're still figuring out the distributing lenders, because they're using different down payment lenders to administer the funds. And then we just got trained on how to do the first mortgage with that, just so we can layer it correctly, because the funds are significant. And yeah, should be exciting. Again, get in the programs early. A neighbor works, build wealth. Um, I think PPL, some of the ones that administer some of those home stretches that they are HUD approved, you need to get in those early to be considered for these funds. Again, even if it's in April, needs to be completed 30 days before the purchase agreement. The home stretch does. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, I mentioned before on a previous video of time frame, just making sure your ducks are in a row so the dates match what they're eligible for.
Okay, now you'd mentioned homestretch. For people that don't know what homestretch is, can you tell us what that is in general and why that's a good thing, or a program like that might be a good thing?
Yeah, 100%. So Homestretch, it's offered by several nonprofits around the state of Minnesota and elsewhere. It's a HUD approved 8-day home buyer education class. I teach personally chapters 2 and 3 when offered. I teach with PPL, PRG, Urban League, and Model Cities. And so it's a Saturday class. Some are offered online. Prefer the in person. It's a little more engaging, and again, it allows you to be eligible for down payment assistance through that year. I think the certificates are good for 2 years now.
Wow,
But it's a great class now. Again, in any stage of it, but again, it solidifies the secured funds for down payment assistance.
that's fantastic. So working with US Bank, they're going to have access to up to or in excess of 40 down payment assistance programs. They're also going to have access through you to this new program that isn't quite out yet. And then you're the expert, having taught the home ownership classes. You're going to be able to direct them, and there's no harm in getting education. The more you know, the better homeowner you'll be. So I've had
Correct.
people take the class and they've said, you know what, I didn't use that program, but I learned a lot and it was valuable. So you can, I never argue with education. You can never have too much of it.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and you can coordinate that. So if I was a buyer and I came in to see you, or a potential buyer, you'd be able to direct me to the home stretch on how I sign up for that. You could tell me about that, or frameworks, some of the other education, and then you could tell me which programs based on my income and credit that I might be eligible for a down payment. And collectively, you'd be able to coordinate the whole plan. All right, so we're going to send you to the class. You're going to save up a little. We're going to maybe improve your credit or not, and your income is perfect. Now we're going to get you in for this program and underwritten. That's kind of what you would do, correctly?
100%. Yeah. Again, it's a whole program. You start it from beginning to end, but again, the more information you have, so you're not scrambling up to that purchase agreement, so you don't suddenly have to improve your credit score 50 points, in a week. Just things where you can have a little bit more control of it. That's what
Yeah.
these classes do, and that's what some of the recommendations that I or a trusted advisor that would help you in this early part of the process would do.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I mean, imagine buying a home and not becoming a renter. You had mentioned one of the programs, Neighborhood Works. I had a gal, this was a couple years ago. She was unfortunately a renter longer than she needed to be. And I had told her I sold her
Sure.
father a home, And I said, whenever you come up with $1,000, you let me know and I'll help you get into home ownership. And so she and her kids and her husband lived in this crappy duplex. And anyway, I got him a home. We used Neighborhood Works. We bought in the North End, and we got $20,000 for him. And
Nice.
yeah, it worked out perfect. Now they own a house, and life is much better for them. So, and because of stuff like this, because we shared information, and that's why whoever is watching this, I don't want you to think that again, because of whatever your situation is, that you have to stay there. You might not have the right information or the right people. This gal that I had helped was never exposed to the information, hence she would still be a renter today if we hadn't exposed her to that. And so Lee over at US Bank has access to everything. If you go down to, and nothing against some of the smaller banks or credit unions that don't have access because they're not on the approved list to some of the down payment assistance, you might get the wrong information. I had a buyer that stayed out of home ownership for a year because they were accumulating their 3 or 3.5% for a down payment when they didn't need to, but they didn't want to leave the credit union. So the credit union didn't tell them you could buy a house with $1,000. They spent a year out of the housing market and had to pay 10% more on a $300,000 home. That was a $30,000 mistake. And I had told them, you need to get with a different lender because you're not getting the information that you need to get you into home ownership. So that's why it costs how much to work with you and talk to you, Lee?
Zero up front.
Zero up front. So other than some time on your behalf and Lee's, it costs nothing to get the information to see if you're qualified. And that's what we want to do. We want to try to help you get into home ownership. We want to help you together if we can. We work together and we'll collaboratively, we'll work under the programs that you're qualified for. We've both been doing this a long time and this is what we like to do. So I would encourage you to reach out to us so that we can help you. And if you're working with somebody else on the financing, why not get a second opinion? It doesn't cost anything more to see if you've got the right product and program. You might, and Lee will tell you that. He'll tell you you're in good hands and stay where you're at, or he'll tell you, you know what, did you know that there was this down payment assistance program and you could save your cash and buy some furniture or do something else with it, and he'll direct you accordingly if you want. So, there's no harm in having a second opinion and a conversation. And Lee is accessible and available and wants to help, as do I. Lee, anything else about down payment assistance that our watchers should know today?
Yeah, please reach out to find what organization, excuse me, is best for you. And again, start early because they're all scheduled. So it's got to work in both your schedules.
Perfect. Think of us as the quarterback to home ownership. We're going to direct you appropriately. And I know we can add value to your life. So give us a call. Lee's information will be down below. And thank you again for watching today.